Good morning, everybody. Meteorologist Jaret Lansford live to help you get through the morning drive for the next about 15 minutes or so. We'll be watching for any issues that develop as Tuesday's morning commute really gets underway and we see the peak of that happening. And what I'm noticing here over the last 15 minutes or so is that we are getting a little bit of an impact as a result of some sun glare as clouds thin just enough that we start to get some issues. Let me pull the correct camera up here to look at, and there's what I'm seeing. You can see there are some clouds, so it's not as fully bright of a sky as what we had yesterday, but we do have the sun sneaking through just enough that things backing up pretty sizably. This is 168th and Dodge. And you can see the traffic that's trying to make its way in off of the ramp is basically stopped as it tries to shuffle in with this traffic that's going at a steady but slower than usual pace on eastbound Dodge. So that's the sort of thing I'll be watching for on a lot of our eastbound roads. I did have a map view of this area, and you could see there is an orange flare-up that is in place right near 168th. This is kind of where we have the worst of it taking place. But anywhere from about 156th back to almost 192nd is where you are seeing things slow this morning. And as you get into that stretch, you're looking at speeds that end up around 20 miles per hour in the worst of it. During that whole stretch, you could experience about 30 to 40 miles per hour. Be ready for those delays. As I zoom out the map, you're going to notice a lot of the same sun glare issue spots that we had yesterday are again running slow. That includes 370 as you are making your way toward I-80. Those go from I-80 back toward Gretna. Heavy traffic is part of the reason why it's so slow westbound there in that area. And then I-80 doing okay at this point, but I wouldn't be surprised if we do start getting some delays that show up from about 84th back to 680. Aside from that, we do have some delays on Blair High near 680 eastbound, that between about State Street and 680, so watch for that increasing. Did have one crash that I've been tracking. This is a lot further to the south and west. This is 180th and Drexel area where we had that report come in. That's just north of Harrison, and you can see Harrison with some delays as well. Maybe some sun glare impact, part of the reason why that is running slower, but that is a spot you want to be prepared for things to be a little delayed. Otherwise, I've been watching occasional delays on 42nd near I-80. A lot of our delays have been right near I-80. Lines up with just having heavy traffic during the morning drive. And that ramp from the JFK northbound to westbound I-80 with some delays as well. Another spot that we had some issues yesterday was this stretch of Dodge as you get off to the east of 680 toward 90th. Things getting congested. This is something we've noticed at times over the last week or two, and that is certainly the case again this morning. So I think with all that, we haven't really had too much in the way of reports of any kind of crashes or anything, but it is a morning where we are picking things up and seeing some slowdowns. Let's return to that camera there at 168th and Dodge. We'll watch this for a little bit, and anything new that comes in, I will get back on the microphone. You are currently watching the Nebraska DOT camera. This is on Dodge, right near 168th, and you can see that things are moving just a little slowly through that stretch. Let's check in on another area, and actually, let's give you a quad box view of our commute. So you're going to see this camera in the bottom left that we were just watching. Let's see if we can get some more road views. Some of these shots have gotten moved, so let's look. Maybe if we can get something in the Midtown area. There you go. You can see there is a little bit of a sun glare impact if you're driving Midtown, Blackstone area. That's this top left view that you see there. And I should be able to pull that full screen. It's not doing it for me right now. Let's try that again. There we go. Okay. So there is your view in Blackstone. And that's Farnham that you see there in the foreground. Keep in mind you do still have lots of work happening in that area. But pretty quiet on that road. Things are moving generally okay there. Our top right, this is 90th and West Dodge, picking up our traffic through this stretch. This is one of the areas I was talking about that does have some delays as you're going eastbound between 90th and then back towards 680. And that is the traffic that is coming toward the camera in this direction right there. Anyway, this area approaching the camera is eastbound, so watch for slow travel there. Let's see if I can get that to go back. There we go. Bottom right, that is 144th and West Dodge, and things are moving in pretty good shape there. You get past the delays that are taking place a little further to the east. And then again, our NDOT camera we were just watching there at 168. One thing I do want to point out here is some of the issues that we are seeing start to try to develop with some construction. This is coming eastbound right in the stretch between 30th and 27th. And this is right near the North Freeway. There's a long-term construction, next 3 months. You're going to have that one-lane travel in place. And I do expect we'll have some slowdowns that develop as we get toward the peaks of the commutes as a result of that. Don't be surprised if you do encounter some backups as a result of that one. You can see coming on, it's just generally a little bit slower in that area. This is right near the Creighton campus so that you're seeing the yellow showing up around 24th. So not terribly surprised to see that. But you also have a little bit of construction just east of there around 18th. Varying lane restrictions that's scheduled through today, so don't be surprised by that either. Let's look at the full map once again. And not a lot of areas that have bigger delays. That Dodge one that we were watching stands out, but also 370 as you go westbound near I-80. That's just heavy traffic making its way through that stretch. 370 in general, just not moving quite up to speed. You can see some of the yellow shading that's showing up from about 144th all the way to 84th as you're going eastbound. So not an ideal drive today if you're going on 370. No reports of any crashes or anything. That's just heavy traffic through that stretch. Similar case on the JFK from about Eld back toward the Chandler area where things are running slowly. And as we kind of scan around the rest of the metro, there's our Blair High delays as you're getting close to 680 with things a little slow through that stretch. I think we will go back to our quad box view. We'll take that full screen and watch that for a little bit. So I'm watching how the cloud cover kind of interacts with our commute here. We had it thin just enough that we were starting to get some sun glare issues really flare up in some of the classic spots, including Dodge, eastbound around 168th, and it is slowing down once again in that area. Notice the traffic that's kind of grinding to a halt as you are trying to enter eastbound Dodge from 168th. Heavy traffic. Sun glare is not looking quite as bad as it did just about 10 minutes ago. But don't be surprised if that does become at least a little bit of a factor for the morning drive if you're heading eastbound on Dodge, any of our eastbound roads really, this morning. Let's check back in. We had one crash that we were watching. That was 180th and Drexel, just to the north of Harrison. I do expect this should start clearing up pretty soon. We were looking at this being in place about an hour ago, so should be getting into the finishing time frame on that. Otherwise, a lot of our slowdowns tied either to access to I-80. You can see 42nd. We were just looking at 370. We do have some delays on Dodge from 90th back to the 680 interchange. This is where we were looking at some pretty sizable delays yesterday. And the overall map shows some yellow that's flaring up, and then that stretch of Dodge being one of our more extreme delays that we have. I think with that, it's pretty consistently moving along on some roads, just a little slow. Watch for maybe a little bit of that sun glare. That sun is really going to work to try to help us melt off some of that snow today. So we get the temperatures up near 50, maybe even a little warmer in some spots as our day goes on. Don't be surprised if it gets a little sloppy on some of the roads this afternoon. We may have to watch for a little refreeze as we get toward tomorrow morning. I don't think that'll be a widespread problem, but expect some melting to take place. Other than that, hope you have a great commute and day in general. We'll be watching for any issues, and we'll make sure to first alert you if we do start to have any big problems that start to pop up. Have that First Alert 6 app. You'll get push alerts if we do start to have crashes that majorly start to impact the commute. Enjoy your Tuesday.